Hi, Reid Realtor here out of Pensacola. So I had run into somebody the other day, and as most agents are always asked, how's the market? And my reply was, well, it really depends on who you're talking to, who you ask. And that really couldn't be any more true of a statement. It really does depend on who you're talking with, what their background is, what news media you're listening to, where you get your news, as to how you decipher the stats or the statistics of what a market is truly doing. Um, 20 years ago, when I started real estate in this Pensacola area, I realized really quickly that it really depends on who you're talking to, who you're asking about what kind of answer you'll get to that question. And the owner of the company that I work with, Emerald Coast Realty, I had asked the owner, who's also our IT guy, if he could prepare, stats for me, because numbers don't lie. The numbers will tell you the story every time. So he was really helpful in preparing these graphs for me, which now I've been keeping track of for the last 20 years. And any of my clients who know me have seen these graphs that I share all the time. So it's not just helpful for me to see where these trends are moving, but also for the people I work with. So let's kind of run down some things. So we are getting a lot of information in the news as of late that the Southeast market is maybe declining, or that there may be a lot of distressed sales happening, and that is not happening in the Pensacola area. Markets vary greatly depending on where you are in the nation, where you are in a state. Even just a local community can have a really big change of statistics. So in our Pensacola area, our sales for the month of January, we were at 514 units. Now, 514 units, that means units closed. So of all the properties that were for sale in the Pensacola area, that's how many units or sales that were closed in the month of January. It was down from December, which would not be uncommon, because most closings do take 30 to 45 days to come to completion. So that would mean that a property would go under contract in, November, right before December, to close in January. So we have the holidays. Not as many people shop around the holidays, although those that do shop are usually pretty darn serious. So not uncommon to have a little drop of units sold in January, but still quite a solid number, 514 units sold. Year over year change in units sold, we were up 4.3% this January compared to last January. So when you're looking at trends over a year, we had sold more units this past January than the January before, up 4.3%. Our average sale price has really been swinging between about 380,000 for your average sale price in our greater Pensacola area, to about 410, give or take. So that is an average. And this past month, January, was at 406,844. So right about $407,000 for your average home in Pensacola. That is up significantly from years past, from 2017, 18, 2019. That's when our prices were really a little bit more normal. We peaked out in 2020 and 21. prices came off that peak just a little bit, and we have been really pretty level since then. People tend to think prices maybe have really come down. That is not what the data is showing. You can see here that we have a real horizontal line over the last few years, showing where prices have really been quite stable. So we peaked out right about here, and you can see that there's a straight line across showing how stable and level our prices have been over the last few years. And I will venture to say that I have never in my life, in my time doing real estate over the last, I've been following real estate markets for decades now, but seriously, as a realtor since 2006, in this specific market, I have not found a more steady, stable market when it comes to prices. That is really surprising for people to hear when I tell them that. But that's the proof is in the pudding. Very level line, stable. And I will also add that I would much rather see a nice level stable path for prices than something that's going up sharply or down. That really shows more instability, and I like the idea of prices being more level and stable for folks. So that is big news if you are selling. Sellers, that's a good number for sellers. A little tougher for home buyers. Home buyers are having a harder time with where we're finding prices these days. Our interest rates have come off that high peak of 7% and have now found themselves hovering right around just over 6%, dipping into high fives. If you can buy down your interest rate with points, you can get down into the fives. But I would say your average interest rate right now, conventional financing with good credit, 30-year fixed rate, is hovering right around 6%. So with the prices where they are, even though they are pretty darn stable and buyers should have some confidence in that right now, they're still having a hard time with the interest rates with, where they're at with that. Although I am finding that home buyers have literally come to terms or are accepting the fact of where the rates are now. We are at a 3-year low for interest rates currently. So even though they may seem a bit on the higher side for some folks, they really are at the lowest point that they've been in the last 3 years. So that is the good news for home buyers. We're really not expecting any big changes when it comes to interest rates right now. Nobody has a crystal ball as to what is going to become of those interest rates, but they are they're at a much lower, much better rate than they had been, and there's definitely some programs out there that are working for some people. Another good thing for home buyers is that because we did come off that fevered pitch, that real peak in the market of 2020, 2021, when there wasn't as much negotiating room for home buyers, we're really in a market now that home buyers wished we were in a few years ago. So, it's all relative, right? I have yet to see a perfect market or have experienced what a perfect market looks like. There's always something. And this is Huckleberry here. Huckleberry, I just got back from a listing appointment where there were 3 dogs, and he knows I was doting on them. Say hello, Huckleberry. Say hello to Huck. All right. So, what do we have now? What are we doing, Huck? He's photo bombed me here. He's got a good nose, this one. All right, let's see. Where are we? Year over year monthly average appreciation rate. Yeah, we're at about a 7.7% year over year monthly average appreciation rate. So our prices with that 407 $100,000 mark, we have appreciated 7.7% in the last year. Now, we were down a little bit more last month than that. Um, Actually, not last month, but the month before. Um, it's just been kind of wavering, waffling along that average sale price. Our average appreciation rate over 5 years is running at 7.8%. So that's a 7.8% increase in property values in the last 5 years. I have run into some challenges with some folks that had purchased properties just a few years ago. Plans change, things change, and they decided to go ahead and put properties back on the market. And there's some folks that are having a little harder time with the idea that prices really haven't changed a whole heck of a lot since when they purchased just a few years ago. There was a time where people were gaining tremendous equity in their properties, and a little harder if you bought in 2020 or 21 and then are trying to sell now. That's a little tougher situation. Let's see, days on the market. So we're at about 82 days on the market right now. That has been pretty consistent. We've been right around between 78, 80, 82, 84, right around that same number of days on the market for quite a while now. So that really hasn't changed too much. Our active listings in our Pensacola MLS, that is the area from Perdido Key all the way to Navarre Beach, including Pensacola Beach, downtown Pensacola, Pace, Milton, Molino, basically everything here to the farthest west in the panhandle of Florida. Our Pensacola Association of Realtors area has 2,891 units available on the market for sale right now. That's residential properties. That number has come down a bit. And so inventory is a little bit more scarce than it had been. Now, this time of the year, we do expect that we'll have a spring bump. Typically, people do put their properties on the market in the spring. That can work well for home buyers, and that they may have an opportunity for some greater inventory. Sellers, I know that it's traditionally a good time to put your house on the market, but there is also added competition. So that is something that you should consider. When I am listing property, I look more at when I have good sales, good comps for supporting values more than the time of the year. We sell properties all year round. So right now, if we were to take every property that we have listed on the market and sell it at the rate that we are selling at, we would have a 5.6 month inventory. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good amount of time to sell all of those properties in. 5.6 month inventory is considered neutral in our area. If we have less than a 4 month inventory, it really is considered a seller's market. If we have more than a 6 month inventory, that's really turning into a buyer's market. So we are quite neutral. We've come off that fevered pitch that we were in from 2020, 2021. Prices have softened just a bit, but they've stayed very neutral and even keeled. There is a little bit more inventory now than there was then. Our interest rates are, at a 3-year low. So this is all good news for home buyers. They are able to do a little bit more negotiating than they had in the last, few years. There are more in seller concessions. Sometimes sellers are more willing to pay closing costs pay to bring down points. Home buyers aren't putting themselves in quite as precarious of a situation as they had been a few years back. So things have gotten easier for home buyers. This is the market that they wish that we were in just a few years ago. And, sellers need to come to terms with the fact that we are not in 2020, 2021 any longer, but we are in very much a neutral, stable market. And as I mentioned previously, would venture to say it's probably the most stable market I've seen in real estate. Let's see, what else do I have to share? Um, Condo sales are down a little bit, as is also, kind of seasonal for this time of the year. We have snowbirds in. I always recommend people to buy your beach condos in the spring, so then you can capitalize on those the summer rental income in the season coming, and enjoy it also for yourself in the summertime. Anyway, that's about all I've got for you today. Definitely keep in mind that every market is different, and that it really takes digging into a local market with a local expert to really decipher what is going on in your market. And I am always happy to chat it out with you. Always happy to help. Follow me at Reid Realtor on Facebook for the most current real estate information. You can also follow me on YouTube, my new YouTube channel, Reid Real Estate. I hope to see you there, and feel free to call me anytime. Love to chat. Take care.